G'day guys, Matt here for SilviaWA. Welcome to a special episode of Build Breakdown where we have 3 cars to look at. And they're all owned by Chris Goode from Team No Superstar.
Hey.
So this is your S14, your street car, right?
Yeah. So
this is building it to be.
Yeah, this is my Series 1 S14 Zenki, ex-president of SilviaWA, Kyle Hickey's old car.
Represent.
I've owned it for about 8 years. It saw a couple of the SilviaWA cruises and then I took it to Collie Raceway for my first time out actually drifting, and we broke the gearbox and the motor within like 8 laps.
Right.
So from there, the build sort of snowballed in a big way. I bought some really stupid sized wheels.
Hey, you've got it though. It's got over fenders. It just suits the style.
Yeah. So I was going for a really specific style, and then the more and more time and money I poured into it, the less I wanted to drive it.
Right.
Especially drift it with how aggressive driving was becoming at the time. And then I sort of lost interest in finishing the build just because I purely wanted a track-only car.
Right, and how long has this probably been out of action for?
7 years. I've been paying registration on it now.
And it hasn't been driving?
No, in 7 years it hasn't been run.
Well, there's some premium plates you got on there, so
yeah,
you probably need to get them out in the street, I think.
Oh, look, man, to be honest, it's very close. Tomorrow it is going to get fab work done, and then it's on the home stretch to being finished. So now with the 2 drift cars sort of completed, I can spend a lot more time and focus on getting this done and get out to some of the cruises.
I think we'll be loading it on the trailer later on then.
Yeah.
What's the general overview? Engine setup, suspension, anything crazy?
Do you want to pop the bonnet?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, good one to get.
Premium jacks down there, mate. Multi-purpose.
Yeah. It's even got the tape and the cushion under there, so it like protects all the paint. So it's a series, it's a SR20 VCT motor. We've got a high mount 6 boost 2871R that's been rebuilt. It's got 1750 injectors. This car, the last time this setup was running on a different motor, it made 420 horsepower. This motor's got slightly smaller cams. I think it's got a stepped cam setup in it. So we'll probably see around the 400 horsepower mark on ethanol once this car's finished off. There's a little bit left to go, obviously the intercooler pipes and some more fabrication stuff. We've still got to do wiring, finish building a couple of the lines out of speed flow, and yeah, hit the streets.
I see that you've got the tubbed wheel arches to fit those big old Johnnies under it.
Yeah. So obviously with the big wheels, and then I was going to run a big lock kit on it. You needed the tubs if you're going to run a slammed car. In hindsight, it's probably a silly thing to do on a street car, but it looks cool.
Silly street cars are cool.
Yeah. My mum actually did all the airbrushing in the engine bay.
Your mum?
Yeah.
Wow.
So they're like some skulls and it's all been ghosted and smoked into it. So it's not like so in your face.
Yeah. Family affair, eh?
Yeah. She actually helped me finish paint this car. So.
Well, that's nice. That's cool. That's cool.
I got over it.
And what's the colour? Is it pulled off another car or?
It's Toyota Sunset Bronze. Now that was never released in Australia. I think it was a Tundra colour.
Right.
It pretty much was one of the first cars to be done in this sort of colour that I ever saw. Obviously, like this car's been sitting like this for 6 or 7 years now, so there's been plenty of brown cars and big wheels and stuff like that.
Right.
At the time I did it, it was one of the first.
So how have you set it up differently, or how are you going to set it up differently to your drift car?
To be honest, I'm going to be setting it up pretty similar. I'm going to take some of the things I've learned over the last couple of years of setting up the drift cars and take it and reapply it to what I thought was a good setup. Obviously, I'm going to keep the springs nice and soft. Because you need that positive rebound, especially when you're doing any sort of driving. But this car I'm going to run obviously a lot lower because I don't need it to perform as well. Right. And it's more, it's going to look better being absolutely slammed.
So I know it's partially finished, but let's check out the interior.
Yeah, for sure, man. So I've taken the whole interior out. I've basically restored absolutely everything I can. All the door cards, the dash have been redone in flocked. The door cards have been retrimmed. With that diamond print, so that was sort of something I wanted to do to make it a bit like classier. The whole car's been rewired, so we've cut out basically anything that isn't necessary and kept all the basic essentials in there. So we still got We still got the windows all hooked up, the sunroof's all
Yep.
hooked up. All your basic essentials for a driving car are there, but then we've streamlined it so there's no wiring or fuse boxes in the engine bay. Keep it nice and tidy. We're going to do a nice panel and tuck that up underneath the dash there. So yeah, big work in progress still.
And the kit, what kit are we running? Don't know.
Fucked if I know. Fuck, what is it? I don't know, I think it's like a D-Max kit.
Yeah, right.
I honestly can't remember. It's been that long since I've fucking looked at this car. I know these are some copy fenders. Let's just call it Origin. Yeah, it's Origin kit.
It's Origin, then you got Origin on your car.
Yeah.
Jed just puts that right in there. Let's just call it Origin.
So in the boot, we've got a 60 litre fuel cell, Aftermarket Industries surge tank with twin 044s. We've got a Holly, no, it's not a Holly. We've got an Aeroflow lift pump, and that primes the surge. And then we've got all the speed flow for all the fuel lines and stuff. Big Dash 8 fuel line. So we were going to run a twin feed setup. So we're going to have a big fuel system in this car. Probably going to dial that back a bit now and just try and make it a more of a street car.
More of a street car, but there's a huge fuel cell in the boot.
Yeah, more of a reliable street car. You know, something to go get groceries on the weekend.
Yeah, there's plenty of space. You could fit probably like 2 heads of lettuce and like kombucha in there or something. We're off. So we got car number 2 here, mate.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we do.
So this is my 180. It started life as a $2,000 street car. It was a SIL 80 with a SR20, which is that motor just there.
Right.
That's the old setup from it. It's evolved a lot over the years. It's had a forged SR in it. It made 400 horsepower at one stage out of an SR20. It now has a cammed LS1 in it. Pretty much stock. We did a bit of a freshen up with the motor. We put a new oil pump and a timing chain in it. A couple of other little LS mods. It's got a TR6060 from a VE Commodore in it. Twin plate clutch, 1-piece tail shaft out to a welded diff.
Right. No, dude, that's mint. That's mint.
Yeah, like if it, it's been like solid, man. Like if it's not broken, don't fix it. It's sort of like the motto I take. And that way you can get more time on the track driving rather than more time in the shed stressing about money and actually building it.
And yeah, why'd you go V8? Just for simple...
When the forged SR blew up, I was pretty gutted.
Yeah.
I hadn't even taken it to the track yet. So I wanted to drive, and at the time a V8 swap seemed like the biggest reliability. Or the easiest way to get reliability out of it. And so far it has been super reliable, man. Other than that, everything around it has broken, but the gearbox and the LS itself have actually been super reliable. So it's done that. Now that I've got all the SR cars finished, I'm sort of going to set this one up more to be a main track car.
Yeah,
just because obviously,
the power and the...
yeah, beating up on a V8 car around main track is going to be like less detrimental to it than an SR car. And then once this car clicks 4th and 5th gear, it's very fast around the track. So
yeah. Will you be entering in D1 or Drift West? Or?
Man, I'll get to as many events as possible. So track action, D1, Drift West, Drift School events, it doesn't matter. I just go to them. I just want to drive, pure and simple. I'm not biased anyway. If a comp's on when I'm home, I'll do it. If a fun event's on when I'm home, I'm there. I just want to drive.
Well, let's pop the hood.
Yep. Show you that fire damage.
Scorched marks, mate. Scorched earth. LS power.
So it's relatively, it's a real simple conversion, man. There's not a lot to it. The LS actually sits really good in there. So Mert Automotive helps out a lot with the conversions. He's done all the fab work on this car, from the tube front to the shaved engine bay, the custom floor pan we put in for the seats, the tube rear, the roll cage, custom firewall. The list goes on. Mert's had a big involvement with this car.
Well, it definitely looks like there's a lot of engineering being put into this thing.
Yeah, well, I've crashed it probably like 40 times now. So I've sort of taken the motto that we will not let this car die. No matter what happens.
Always improve.
How badly we crash it, we will find a way to fix it, whether it be tubing or Yeah. So far, we've been lucky to get away with just cutting out the old bent tube and then putting in some new tube, which is sort of like the whole idea behind a tubular chassis. So
I see you're running cut and shut knuckles.
Yeah, so
they're by Brainwashed, right?
They are, yeah. So they're the Brainwashed DC cut and shut knuckles. I actually quite like them. I've again had many steering setups in this car, from big aftermarket lock kits to various cut and shut knuckle setups. And I've found that the simpler they are, the more efficient and the better they are.
Well, and they're homebrew. They're from
yeah, exactly. And like, I'm a big fan of Brainwash. You know, they've got awesome style cars. They're really
Shout out to
good
Vip and
blokes.
Avi.
Yeah. And like, I was like, as soon as they said they were going to make some knuckles, I was like, yep, give me a set. I'll test them out for you and do what I can.
Nice, nice. And you've got so you've still got a custom or shaped engine bay here. You've also got another firewall up the back, don't you?
Yeah, so the 180s are a bit tricky because they're the hatch to meet cams regs. So this car was built to cam specs. So the firewall almost sheets it off and makes it like a ute. So,
right.
That's
Japanese
cool.
workhorse, eh? Well, it's got the LS. It's basically a bloody Commodore Ute.
Yeah, it's been a solid car, man. Like, as much as I talk shit about the LS, it's been super reliable and it's been super fun to drive as well.
Right, simple.
Yeah,
that's it. All right, well, let's check out the interior. So what's going on here, mate? What are we doing?
All business in this one. So I took a bit of a different approach. You know, we've got the alloy dash, we've got no interior whatsoever. We've got Sparco seats. These were cut out, the floor pan, sorry. We've got Sparco seats. The floor pan was cut out to mount these as low as possible. Everything's been done by Mer again. So we've got the custom trans tunnel for the TR6060. The full weld-in roll cage. We've got the firewall.
Big old hydro.
Yeah, big hydro setup. But again, simplicity. You know, you don't need a lot to go out and drive. You don't need any fancy gadgets. I've just got one of these scan gauges here. Yep. Tells me the temperature and the RPM, and that's all I need to know when I'm sending it.
Nice little quick release NRG.
Yeah. You can't get, like, I hate getting in and out of cars, especially with the seats and the cage. You know, the quick releases make a good, an absolute lifesaver at the track.
So you've taken a little bit of the old V8 car with you, with the old shift knob there?
Yeah. So obviously that's like just a factory shifter. Everything is from the straight from the driveline from the Commodore, so it just makes it easy.
This rear end means business, right?
Yeah, man, definitely. So it's got a full tubular rear end. This car's been caved in that many times that we couldn't repair the rear end anymore. So we cut all the factory sheet metal out and we put the tube rear in. It's got a 40 litre fuel cell, Bosch 040, and a couple of fuel filters. And that's pretty much all you need, man. We put the catch can in the boot.
Up the back,
Yeah, just to keep it nice and simple. The tube rear end has been like a super big success. So this car takes a lot of minor hits and then it survives really well.
Right.
Even with one big hit, the tube rear end has shifted over a little bit, but it's all still very practical and very usable, which is the whole idea behind this sort of high-end.
Well, it's cheaper. Well, it's also cheaper replacing fiberglass than it is
100%
fixing sheet metal at the end of the day.
And then the livery does a great job covering up all the broken fiberglass.
Well, it's also a signature of the No Superstar team, mate.
It is, very much so, which should be expanding very soon.
Exciting.
Very exciting.
So that's two done. Let's get on to the next one, eh?
Oh, I'll go get my favourite car now.
There. Needless to say, a parent probably shouldn't pick a favourite child, but...
with cars, it's totally
with cars,
okay.
totally different.
This is 100% my favourite car. So this is my newly finished S13. It's literally just had the livery applied and it's had its first couple of events. You guys are probably seeing it first with the fluoro wheels, just testing something out, seeing if I like it or not.
Yep.
Let me know your thoughts.
In the comments below.
Yeah, in the comments below, or slide into my DMs, it's fine.
All right, and now, so this is your second SR car.
Yes.
Well, your only SR drift car.
Yes.
How does it compare to the V8?
I'm very biased. I personally like this car a lot better. I think the V8 car definitely has its place, but with technical driving, this definitely hits home. Just the way the power band is really delivered.
Yeah.
The V8 car is known for having a lot of torque, and it definitely doesn't allow such aggressive and snappy driving.
Yep.
Whereas with the SR car, you're always sort of fighting that balance of grip versus braking traction, which means it's very fast through the corners. Not so much in the straight lines and along like big swooping corners. Like
Yeah, so more of an
V8 race.
infield.
Yeah, definitely. And that's sort of where I've styled this car and taken a lot of inspiration behind its build from the Kansai region in Japan.
Yep.
All the racetracks there are really small, so they
Tight
have
and technical.
Yeah, so
Yep.
they have to have the cars need to be on their power band for the maximum amount of time. They've got to react at a moment's notice, and everything's got to work.
And the livery's Kansai inspired, right?
Yeah. So when I went to Japan most recently, I met up with Ryota from Cutting Splash Works. He showed us like a really good time over there, and he's like now like a lifelong friend. Awesome driver. He came on board and really helped out. I tried to get the livery created in Perth, and just no one was really capturing exactly what I wanted. I messaged Splash, and he was like, "I'll more than happily give it a go." And this is what he came up with, and like I absolutely love it.
It's become such a signature for you and your team as well. So
Yeah, 100%, man. So this is going to be on at least 5 vehicles by the end of the year.
Yep.
And then who knows what the future holds. So
Hopefully many more, eh?
yeah.
So I guess and it's Origin kit all around, right?
Yeah, so Origin is very heavily used in Japan just because it's very affordable, and obviously like it looks great. So this car's got basically the full Origin catalogue. We've got a racing line body kit with what's left of the splitters.
Well, hey, it's sees some track use, so.
Yeah, 55mm wide body. It's got the combat eyes. It's got the Origin spoilers. I personally reckon it looks sick. It just looks so tough and aggressive and really blends into this style of car.
The rear bar just looks real nice.
Yeah, it looks sick, especially if I didn't destroy that rear splitter.
Oh, hey, it's all part of the fun. It's all part of the fun.
Yeah, definitely. So under the
talk us
bonnet,
through it.
we have a rebuilt SR20 25 gearbox with a cut and sharp bell housing, Silk Road manifold, which is what gives it that real nice aggressive note.
Yep.
It's internally gated TDO5 18G, and that's pretty much it. You know, you've got some 1250cc injectors, some Audi coil packs. They're not really necessary, but you know, that's just what this package came with at the time, and it works really well. It makes a super responsive 340 horsepower on 19 PSI, I think. I don't really know, I don't really care for numbers, but it just works. And it's super drivable, super reliable, and super simple.
Yeah, that's the main thing of this build, just sort of.
Exactly, and that's another thing I picked up in Japan, that none of the cars are overbuilt. You know, you don't need fancy things to drive well.
Yeah.
You need to spend time in the driver's seat to learn how to drive properly. So
Yeah.
that's why in this car, nothing's been cut out. There's no tube. There's nothing that's unnecessary. This is purely 100% for function.
And what angle kit and stuff like that are you using on this?
So this is unbelievably simple, man. So it's got a factory rack relocation, so it hasn't been moved forward. It's got BC coilovers.
Yep.
They're just set up real soft and at a respectable height. S15 lower control arms.
Right.
They're completely like not modified.
Yep.
We've just cut the lock stops off, and then a cut and shut knuckle from Magic or Team Magic. And straight cast drums.
Right.
So a lot of people go the bent cast drums,
Yeah.
but again, with this setup, and if you set them up properly, you've got all the lock you need to go backwards,
Exactly.
and you don't need to, like, I think I paid like $20 for it.
Right. Just keeping it simple.
Yeah. And
The more stuff you add on it, the more the room there is for error and confusion and.
100%, man. And like, unfortunately, a lot of this information is misrepresented and lost. You know, people think you need a big lock kit to drive aggressively, and that was sort of another idea behind this build, was to try and showcase the fact that you can build something super cheap, super simple, and drive well. And I've got a first place and a third place trophy with this car so far. So
Well, I've been in this car, so I know.
it's
I know
pretty
that you can,
fun, right?
I know that they can hang it with the big dogs.
yeah. And then like the only thing that really lets this car down is my driving. So I've still got a lot. No, like
Everyone's got. There's always room for improvement. At the end of the day.
100%, man. And like people may watch me drive and think I'm a really good driver, but I still have a very, very long way to go.
Yeah.
There's so much more I can do just purely in this car as it is.
The only race car-esque element in the interior is really the switch panels.
Yeah, so the car had, like, the wiring was a bit fucked when I got it, and it was a DE, so it was just easier to pull everything out and completely rewire it, and then wire up the engine harness to be standalone. It does have a Power FC G-Jetro and electronic boost controller. Again, you see that on a lot of street cars, so I wouldn't even call it race car.
Yeah.
The gauges on the dash are sort of, again, inspired from Japan. You see a lot of cars with aftermarket gauges and stuff like that on there, and then everything's just been kept as simple as possible. You know, I stole the seat out of the S14 for passengers.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a genuine bride and rail that I think I picked up for $100.
Oh, you're laughing.
You know, like it does the job.
Yeah. Well, that's the main thing about this car, is just getting the job done, you know?
Yeah, and looking good while doing it.
So, I see Joshy boys on the window here. What is that all about?
So Josh is another team driver from Team No Superstar. So Team No Superstar started with Team No Superstar started in 2017 with myself, Jake Whittle, and Zahid Hassan, another member of SilviaWA. We just threw it together as a bit of fun.
Yep.
You know, that's all it was. We just wanted to drive with our mates. We got the same paint on the cars, same style cars. And then from there, it sort of progressed. Josh really liked what we were doing, and we've had a couple of evolvements over the years. The latest one obviously being heavily inspired working alongside Drift School WA by the Japanese influence of drifting. From there, it's almost evolved into a lifestyle brand, which I'm trying to promote and push, which is basically just trying to encourage people to get out and chase their passions no matter what the cost.
And so I see it sort of developed from a drift crew. You've brought in a few more street cars into the mix to try and help out that branding with Sahiman and Masood and Jack.
Yeah, so we've expanded that. We're also looking into sponsoring a couple of fighters and a couple of power lifters.
All right.
We're going to try and move into more of an extreme sports thing, but with Jack, Simon and Masood, you know, they just bring such good energy and like just genuine people, and they just love what No Superstar is about. They love being a part of it. So I'm more than happy to have those boys on board, and hopefully we can all push each other. You know, I'll push Jack and Simon and Masood on the track. They can help out with the street style kind of things.
Getting a bit more people involved and interested.
Yeah, 100%, man. They're great guys, and I'm very thankful for having them on board.
100%. Well, I wish you all the best, because I see great things coming from this.
No worries, man. Thank you very much.
Cheers for
coming.
coming.
Appreciate it.